Today we're talking about the new Slate FG-2A compressor in conjunction with the FG-116 compressor. Now the question is, when you put these two together, does it make the dream team vocal chain? Stick around after this introduction to find out. Welcome everybody, I'm Dan Spencer and I am the Audio Sorcerer. So this is a channel where I teach you how to perfect your audio recording, mixing, and mastering skills. So before we get to the video, make sure you guys smash that like button, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to know when I have new videos coming out. So without further ado, let's get to the video. So today we're talking about the Slate FG-2A compressor, which is brand new, and we're talking about using it in conjunction with the Slate FG-116 vintage compressor, which is also known as the Blue 1176 compressor. So the question is, if you use these together, is that going to create one of the best vocal chains when it comes to compression? And in my opinion, yes. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to use them together and what can actually do for a vocal track. So before we get to that, what I want to do is I want to show you the current vocal chain for this vocal track. And then we're going to add in each of the plugins one by one, dial them in so you can hear what they each do to the sound. And then by the time we're done, we'll have pretty much a finished, polished vocal track. So with that being said, let's look at our vocal chain. All right, so the vocal track we're working on today is this one that is currently soloed right here. So our first plugin in the chain is the Virtual Tape Machine by Slate. This goes on first on all of my tracks. Next, we have the CLA Mix Hub. Now I do want to mention I have the compressor section here disabled, so we're not using any compression in this plugin. We're just using the input side of it and the actual EQ. After that, this is where we have the VMR. This is where our two plugins are going to go. Currently, I have in here the London Tube Saturator. So I'm just using this to get a little bit of saturation on the vocals, give it a little bit more character. And then that's it. I had Nectar here in the original mix. This is by Izotope, but we're not using it in this one because we are replacing it with these two compressors to get the character that we need to make it sound good. Alright, so why don't we give this track a listen with the current processing on it so you can get an idea what it sounds like before we add the compressors onto it. And I should mention, this is actually a song called Shadows by a band called In Your Memory. So now that that's out of the way, let's give it a listen.
Your imagination makes me look like the fool. Your imagination makes people think they know me too, but I never thought they'll take your word. You should have thought before you spoke. You're just a shadow to the joke.
Alright, so we got a pretty good vocal track to work with here. His singing is very controlled, so we're going to use the compressors to bring out more character in his voice and kind of push it just a little bit more forward. That's the idea of these compressors. So what we want to do, let's open up the VMR plugin here, and we'll drop both of these compressors in now, but we'll only use one at a time. So the first one we'll put in is going to be the FG-2A. So this is going to be the one you want to put first in your chain. This is at least how I do it. And then next we're going to put the FG-116 Vintage next. Okay, and we'll turn off the FG-116 Vintage now because we're just going to work with the 2A right now. So let's actually give this a listen, and I'm going to dial this in, and then you can hear what it does to the vocal.
Your imagination makes me look like the fool. Your imagination makes people think they know me too, but I never thought they'll take your word. You should have thought before you spoke. You're just a shadow to the joke. Your imagination makes me look like the fool. Your imagination makes people think they know me too, but I never thought that.
Alright, so I'm liking how that sounds. We're getting about -7 to -10 dBs of gain reduction on his loudest notes. And if you guys haven't used a compressor like this before, it simply just has a peak reduction knob, which you just turn higher when you want to get more gain reduction on the sound that you're putting it on. And then you have a makeup gain below. And besides that, the only other knob or switch, whatever you want to call it, that I would worry about would be the limit or compress one. And we are doing this on compress because that's what I want to use for vocals. So what I want to do now is let's actually start with the bypass, and then I'll bring it back in so you can hear back and forth the differences. So let's give it a listen.
Your imagination makes me look like the fool. Your imagination makes people think they know me too. But I never thought they'll take your word. You should have thought before you spoke. You're just a shadow to the joke.
All right, pretty cool, huh? You know, it just adds just a little bit something extra to the vocals. And, you know, it kind of smooths them out a little bit. In my mind, this compressor is like a leveling compressor. And you can hit it pretty hard, and it's not going to sound over compressed. And that's why I love it. So let's move on to the FG-116 now so you can see how these two compressors work together to create an awesome sounding vocal track. So let's give it a listen.
Your imagination makes me look like the fool. Your imagination makes people think they know me too. But I never thought they'll take your word. You should have thought before you spoke. You're just a shadow to the joke.
All right, so this is my absolute favorite vocal compressor. And you can hear that when I have this thing, you know, hitting between -7 to -10. Also, we're getting a lot of character out of the voice. And it is really pushing it forward in the mix. It's kind of squeezing it, but not in an overcompressed way. So to me, that sounds amazing. So if you guys want to know more about this compressor, I'm not going to go over all the parameters in it now because I have another tutorial where I go over every module within the Slate VMR. It's popping up in the top right corner now. If you guys have time, check it out after this tutorial. So let's do the same thing that we did with the FG-2A. Let's actually hear what this sounds like bypass, then we'll bring it back in. Now I'm going to leave the FG-2A in place because the point of this tutorial is that we're using these as a whole. So you can use the FG-116 by itself on vocals and sound amazing, but this tutorial is about using them together. So that being said, let's give it a listen.
Your imagination makes me look like the fool. Your imagination makes people think they know me too. But I never thought they'll take your word. You should have thought before you spoke. You're just a shadow to the joke.
All right, so as you guys can hear, that makes quite a bit of difference there, having this on here. It just adds a lot of character to it. It brings it forward. Now, I keep saying bring it forward. You don't really know that right now. You'll know it better in the mix. And speaking of that, that's what I want to do next. So we're going to listen to the whole chorus one time through with these disabled. And then next time through, I'll have them enabled, and you'll be able to hear the difference and what these can do for your vocals. So let's do a final comparison.
Your imagination makes me look like the fool. Your imagination makes people think they know me too. But I never thought they'll take your word. You should have thought before you spoke. You're just a shadow to the joke. Your imagination makes me look like the fool. Your imagination makes people think they know me too. But I never thought they'll take your word. You should have thought before you spoke. You're just a shadow to the joke.
All right, I'm absolutely loving that. I think the vocals sound absolutely fantastic, and you can hear them being pulled forward when these compressors are added. You can also hear kind of the high end of their voice, like the airy sound also coming forward. And I think that also gives that the illusion that it's more in your face. So as these compressors are squeezing the vocal, like I said, neither one is over compressing it. It's just making the vocal sound like it's just more powerful. And that's what I love about using these two compressors together. So both these compressors are available in the Slate Everything bundle. So I have a link in the description below where you can go and get that. You get all these modules in the bundle. So, I mean, it's an amazing deal. And this is just the VMR. You get a bunch of other plugins in the bundle too. So it's definitely a win-win. So I would love to know what you guys think of this compressor combination. Also would like to know what you guys think of the new FG-2A compressor. This is probably my second favorite vocal compressor behind the 116. So I was so happy to see that Slate finally added it because I've been using the T-Rax version because that's the only one I have besides this one now. So let me know in the comments below what you think of the compressors. Let me know if you like this technique. Let me know if you guys end up using it and it works well for you. I'd love to know that. So definitely give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Please subscribe because I'll be making this content for you, and hit that notification bell to know how new videos coming out. So that being said, until the next video, I'll see you guys later, and peace out.